Have you ever looked at someone and thought, why does everything seem to work out for them? Why do certain people seem to attract success, wealth, and happiness without even trying? Let me tell you a secret. It's not just luck, it's not just talent. Sometimes, it's written in the stars. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful, misunderstood, and ambitious signs of the Zodiac. Leo. The fiery heart. The natural leader. The soul that burns with purpose. But here's the shocking truth. Leo's path to success isn't just about charm or confidence. It's about psychology, deep emotional drives, unconscious patterns, and ancient astrological forces shaping their every decision. In this video, you'll discover the real reasons why Leos are born to succeed, and why their journey to wealth is not just about money, but about fulfilling their destiny. Whether you're a Leo yourself, or someone curious about how the mind and the stars guide success, what you'll hear today may change the way you see people forever. So, if you're ready to unlock the secrets of Leo's millionaire mind, stay with me. And hey, if you enjoy deep conversations about astrology, psychology, and personal growth, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because today, we're going deep. Let's begin. Have you ever felt that deep, burning need to prove yourself to the world? To achieve something so big, so undeniable, that people have no choice but to recognize you? If you're a Leo, or if you know one, you've seen this energy. It's not arrogance. It's not vanity. It's a silent hunger to become who they were always meant to be. For Leo, recognition isn't just about applause. It's about validation of their inner worth. Their entire journey starts with this powerful inner drive. Imagine a child Leo, standing in front of a mirror, imagining themselves giving a speech to a crowd that doesn't exist yet. That's not fantasy. That's a blueprint. From childhood, Leo dreams of being more, doing more, becoming more. And as life challenges them, that inner need doesn't fade. It transforms, it matures, recognition becomes mastery. They don't just want the spotlight, they want to deserve it. This is why Leo works harder than people often realize. Beneath their confidence lies the pressure to become the version of themselves that they see in their mind. Every success, every failure, every lesson, it's all part of sculpting that masterpiece called their life. So when you see a Leo pushing themselves beyond limits, know this. They're not chasing fame, they're chasing alignment. They're trying to become the person their soul tells them they are. And it's not easy. That hunger is both a gift and a burden. It pushes them forward, but it can also exhaust them. That's where their emotional energy comes in. Unlike others who plan their lives with cold logic, Leo leads with the heart. Passion is their compass. Every decision is weighed against one question: does this make me feel alive? Their bold choices, their risky leaps, all stem from this emotional engine. It's why Leos seem fearless. They're not calculating every move. They're following a fire inside that tells them to leap first and build wings on the way down. But here's what makes them different. That emotional fire doesn't burn them. It fuels them. Think of a Leo starting a business. They don't just see numbers or market gaps. They see the vision. They feel the possibility. And that emotional connection turns into real-world action. They invest, they create, they build, not just for money, but because their soul demands expression. Their passion becomes their strategy. And that's why they often succeed where others hesitate. Yet life doesn't spare Leos from hardship. In fact, they often face more challenges than people realize. But here's the magic hidden inside them: resilience. A Leo doesn't stay down for long. When life knocks them down, they don't just stand up, they reinvent themselves. Their solar energy, linked to the sun itself, gives them a unique psychological pattern. Every setback is a personal sunrise, a chance to begin again, stronger, wiser, more determined. It's not just strength, it's rebirth. Think about someone you know who went through bankruptcy, lost everything, and then somehow rebuilt their life even bigger than before. Chances are, they carried the spirit of Leo. Failure doesn't break them, it remakes them. Psychologically, Leos understand that darkness isn't permanent. Like the sun disappearing behind clouds, they know their light will return. That's what keeps them moving forward when others give up. And through all of this, there's a hidden secret in how Leo views life itself. They see it as a stage, a grand performance, but not in a superficial, show-off way. No. Leo treats their life like a story they are writing every day. Each decision is a plot twist, each victory a climactic scene, and even their failures, they're just moments of suspense, setting up the next great comeback. This narrative perspective gives Leo a unique psychological advantage. When you believe your life is a story worth telling, you naturally fight harder to make it a great one. You persevere. You craft your image, your brand, your reality not to fake success, but to create it. This is why Leos dream big, not because they're unrealistic, but because, deep down, they see themselves as the heroes of their own saga. And heroes don't settle. So the next time you see a Leo stepping onto a stage, chasing a dream, or starting over after failure, remember this: they're not acting, they're living their story. And that story isn't over yet, neither is yours. But there's something even more powerful hidden behind Leo's public image. Their magnetism isn't just luck, it's not something they fake, it's something they embody. Deep down, Leos carry the subconscious desire to become a hero, not just for others, but for themselves. Every time they step forward, every time they speak, every time they share an idea, it's their inner hero taking shape. People feel that energy without knowing why. They're drawn to it. That's why Leos walk into a room and seem to change its atmosphere. They carry a presence, not because they try to, but because they believe in the story they're telling themselves, and this belief shapes how they connect with people. Leos understand emotions better than you might expect. Yes, they lead with confidence. Yes, they love the spotlight. But their real strength? It's empathy. They sense when someone needs encouragement. They know when a team needs motivation. They can read the energy in a conversation, like they're reading a script. And then, they adapt. Not to manipulate, but to empower. Their emotional intelligence lets them build relationships that are deeper than surface connections. They form alliances, real ones. Partnerships where both sides grow. Because Leo doesn't just want people around them, they want people growing with them. Have you ever seen a Leo friend who becomes everyone's emotional anchor? They're the one people come to for advice, for strength, for hope. That's not accidental, it's a subconscious pattern. They know their role is to lift others while climbing themselves. And through every friendship, every business deal, every relationship, they're building a support system that mirrors their inner strength. But beneath that strength is a paradox, a hidden tension most people never notice. Inside every Leo, there's vulnerability wrapped in pride. Imagine someone who's terrified of failure but pushes forward anyway, who craves affection but masks it with confidence, who's hungry for love but afraid of losing respect. That's the inner life of Leo. And it's this inner conflict that fuels them. It's not weakness, it's energy. Because every time they choose courage over fear, every time they choose vulnerability over withdrawal, they grow. And that growth doesn't just build success, it builds identity. That's why failure doesn't stop them, it refines them. Each disappointment makes them reflect deeper, each victory makes them hunger for the next. But not out of greed, out of purpose. A Leo is constantly sculpting their soul into something stronger, bolder, more authentic. Think about someone you know who always seems like they're evolving. A person who's never satisfied, not because they're ungrateful, but because they know there's more inside them waiting to be unlocked. That's Leo energy in action. And this drive leads them to think beyond personal gain. Leos don't just chase money, they chase impact. Deep inside, they want to leave something behind. A legacy, a reason for people to remember they were here. Their success isn't about being rich, it's about being significant. That's why you'll often see Leos involved in creative projects, leadership roles, or humanitarian efforts. Even their businesses carry their fingerprint, their personality, their vision. Because Leo isn't satisfied with existing, they need to matter. Imagine a Leo building a company. For them, it's not just about profits, it's about creating something that lasts, something that reflects who they are. They want people to feel their presence in every product, every decision, every success story. And when they're gone, they want their work to keep speaking. That's the heart of their ambition. Not fame, not fortune, legacy. And all of this comes back to one simple truth. Leo's soul needs expression. It's not a choice. It's not a strategy. It's survival. When they're creating, leading, sharing, they're alive. When they're silent, invisible, stuck in routine, they fade. That's why they push boundaries. Why they launch projects that others fear. Why they speak even when no one's listening yet. Because inside them is a voice that refuses to be silenced. Every new venture, every risky decision, every bold performance, it's not about impressing others. It's about honoring themselves. So, if you're a Leo, or if you have Leo energy within you, listen to that voice. Feed it, express it. Create not for applause, but for alignment. Lead not to be followed, but to embody your own potential. And if you're standing at the edge of a decision, a leap, a risk, remember this: self-expression isn't indulgence, it's your purpose. And now, as we move forward, what you're about to discover will dive even deeper. Because in the next part of this journey, we'll explore why Leo's relationship with risk, their mindset of constant reinvention, and their quiet obsession with integrity might just be the most misunderstood and the most powerful keys to their ultimate success. The final 3 insights will reveal truths about Leo that most people never even imagine. Stay with me. There's something fascinating about the way Leo handles risk. Most people see risk as danger, as something to avoid, something that could lead to failure, embarrassment, or loss. But for Leo, risk is something different. It's almost like an invitation, a challenge, a moment where they're asked, silently, do you trust yourself enough to take this step? And for Leo, the answer is often yes. But it's not recklessness. It's not about gambling everything on luck. Leo approaches risk with a blend of intuition and self-belief. They weigh possibilities. They trust their inner compass. And when the moment feels right, they leap. Not because they're sure of the outcome, but because they're sure of themselves. That's the difference. Think of an entrepreneur who invests in a new project when everyone else hesitates, or a leader who chooses a bold strategy when the safer path is clear. That's Leo energy at work. And here's the secret. Every risk they take becomes a statement, a reminder to themselves that they are not afraid of uncertainty. Because deep inside, Leos know this truth: growth never happens in the comfort zone, and wealth, real wealth, demands courage. And this ties directly to how they view progress. Leo doesn't seek comfort, they seek evolution. To them, success isn't about reaching a goal and staying there. It's about constantly refining, constantly improving, constantly pushing the limits of what they thought possible. Every step forward is a lesson. Every mistake is feedback. Every victory is motivation to aim even higher. Leo carries a growth mindset, not as a strategy, but as a natural state of being. They are never finished. They are never done. They are always becoming. That's why, when life challenges them, they adapt. Not because they enjoy struggle, but because their inner drive demands movement. Stagnation terrifies Leo more than failure. Standing still feels like disappearing. So, They move forward, even when they're scared, even when no one believes in them, even when success seems miles away. They move, and there's a deeper reason behind this constant reinvention. It's not just ambition, it's honor. For Leo, integrity is not a marketing tool, it's their foundation, their sense of fairness, their need to be true to their word, their refusal to betray their values. All of this shapes their every decision. In business, in life, in relationships, Leos believe in doing what's right, not just what's profitable. It's why people trust them, why investors follow them, why teams stay loyal. Leo builds trust not through promises, but through consistency, through actions, through living their principles, even when it costs them something in the short term. Think of someone who turns down a shady deal, even when it could make them rich overnight, or someone who treats every employee, every client, every partner with respect, no matter their status. That's Leo's code of honor in action, and it's this integrity that becomes their long-term strategy, because money earned without soul means nothing to a Leo. Success without respect feels empty. They don't just want to win, they want to win their way, and maybe that's the most misunderstood thing about them. People see the confidence, the drive, the public image, but they miss the discipline. The quiet nights spent questioning every decision, the long hours spent building something real, something honest, something that aligns with their soul. Leo isn't chasing applause, they're chasing alignment, and that's why their success lasts. Behind their charisma, their leadership, their boldness, is a mind constantly at work, reflecting, adjusting, growing, not because they have to, but because they can't imagine living any other way. Reinvention is their second nature. Risk is their companion. Integrity is their silent promise to themselves. And it all circles back to that inner narrative, the story they're writing day by day, a story where every challenge becomes a scene worth telling, a story where every victory feels earned, a story where they don't just play the hero, they become it. But what happens when Leo faces doubt, when their energy fades, when their heart questions the path forward? The final part of our journey will answer that. In the next moments, you'll discover 3 of the deepest, most surprising, and perhaps most controversial truths about Leo's journey to success. Stay with me, because the next insights may change the way you see not only Leo, but yourself. There's something powerful about the way Leo connects with people. Not just socially, not just in passing conversations, but in the depth of the relationships they build over time. Leo doesn't see people as transactions. They see people as mirrors, as partners on the same path. That's why, when they form a bond, it's real, and it's lasting. Loyalty isn't a choice for Leo, it's part of who they are. Once they trust someone, once they commit to someone's journey, they stay. Through success, through failure, through the quiet seasons of life, Leo stays. And this loyalty isn't weak, it's strength. Because it creates networks that money can't buy. A team that doesn't leave when things get hard. Friends who believe in them even when Leo stops believing in themselves. That's the hidden wealth they build long before financial success arrives. Have you ever seen a Leo who never lets go of their childhood friends? Or someone who stays loyal to their mentor years after fame arrives? That's not nostalgia, that's their code, their way of honoring the people who helped shape their story. And ironically, this loyalty becomes a secret advantage. Because business thrives on trust. And Leo builds trust not through contracts, but through human connection. But there's something deeper, something most people misunderstand. Leo's desire to be seen, to stand out, to be in the spotlight, isn't driven by vanity. It's driven by purpose. You see, for Leo, being invisible feels like suffocation. They don't crave attention because they're insecure. They crave visibility because it reminds them they're alive, that their voice matters, that their presence has an impact. Think about a singer who comes alive on stage. or an entrepreneur who lights up when pitching their idea, it's not the applause that fuels them, it's the expression, the connection, the feeling that their story, their energy, is reaching someone. That's why Leo seeks center stage. Not for the fame, but for the affirmation that their inner light deserves to shine. And this desire to be seen isn't shallow, it's transformational, because it pushes Leo to grow, to evolve, to refine their craft. Every audience, every project, every opportunity becomes a reason to become better, to work harder, to aim higher. Visibility isn't just a reward, it's a mirror that pushes them toward excellence. And that excellence is built on something simple yet powerful: goals. Leo doesn't wander through life hoping things work out. They're driven by clear, specific goals, not because they're obsessed with control, but because goals give their passion direction, focus, structure. Without goals, their energy scatters, their ideas fade, their light dims. But when a Leo sets a goal, something shifts inside them. They become focused, disciplined, relentless. Every day becomes a step toward that vision. Every action is weighed against a simple question: does this move me forward? That's how they build empires, not in leaps but in steady, deliberate steps. Think of someone who writes down their goals every morning. Someone who visualizes success not as a fantasy, but as a future reality. That's Leo's mindset. Not dreamy, not impulsive, strategic, focused, clear. And when obstacles appear, they don't panic. They adapt, because the goal matters more than the challenge. But here's the secret most people miss. The reason Leo stays so focused, so steady, even when storms hit, is their emotional control. Yes, Leo feels deeply. Yes, they lead with passion. But when life shakes them, they don't crumble. They breathe. They pause. They think. Have you ever seen someone who stays calm when everything around them falls apart? That's Leo's hidden superpower. Their emotions don't control them. They control their emotions. Not by suppressing them, but by understanding them. Fear? It's a signal to prepare. Anger? It's a reminder to set boundaries. Sadness? It's a cue to reflect. But none of these emotions drive the car. Leo does. And this emotional control is what allows them to make smart decisions when money's on the line, when partnerships are tested, when risks appear. While others panic, Leo plans. While others doubt, Leo acts. Because their heart fuels their dreams, but their mind drives the journey. And maybe that's what makes them unstoppable. A fiery heart, paired with a steady mind, a passionate soul, guided by clear goals. A hunger for visibility, balanced by deep loyalty. Leo isn't chaos. Leo is purpose in motion. But what happens when the world misunderstands that purpose? What happens when people call them arrogant, or selfish, or too ambitious? In the next part of this journey, you'll discover 3 final truths about Leo. Truths that are more personal, more emotional, and perhaps more controversial than anything we've explored so far. Stay with me, because what comes next might just change the way you see success forever. There's something powerful about the way Leo looks at life. No matter how many times they fall, no matter how many times doors close, they keep believing. And it's not just hope, it's not blind optimism, it's a choice. Leo chooses to believe in abundance, in the possibility of more, in the chance that tomorrow can be better than today. This belief isn't something they're born with. It's something they build, piece by piece, each time life tries to break them. Imagine someone who loses everything, yet wakes up the next morning, telling themselves, it's not over. That's Leo. They know setbacks are part of the story, not the end of it. Their optimism isn't naive, it's strategic. Because when you believe in possibility, you start to see it, you start to create it, you start to attract it. That's why people love being around Leo. It's not just their energy, it's their perspective. Leo can stand in the middle of failure and still talk about victory. They can face a wall and imagine a door. That's the magic they bring into every room, every conversation, every project. And here's something most people don't realize. Optimism isn't easy. It takes strength, real strength. Choosing to believe, when life gives you every reason not to, is an act of courage. And Leo lives that choice every day. But behind that courage, behind the positivity, is a deeper truth. Leos carry emotional scars, times they were ignored, moments when their efforts weren't recognized, periods when their light dimmed and no one noticed. But instead of letting that pain close their heart, they turn it into fuel, into purpose, into the determination to build a life where their worth is no longer questioned. That's why success matters so much to Leo. It's not about money. It's about healing. Every goal reached, every dream achieved, every challenge overcome, is a way of proving to themselves that they matter, that their voice counts, that their light was always meant to shine. And maybe that's the lesson Leo teaches us all. Life will try to silence your voice. People will doubt your worth. Even your own mind will tell you to give up. But like Leo, you have the power to keep believing, to keep creating, to keep standing in your light, even when no one else can see it yet. So now, take a breath, let that sink in. Because whether you're a Leo or not, there's something in you that wants to rise, something that wants to be seen, something that wants to become. And that's where we'll end today's journey. If you saw yourself in these stories, if you felt even a little of your own fire in these words, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, maybe a Leo in your life, or maybe someone who's forgotten their own strength. And remember, this is just one part of the journey. In upcoming videos, we'll explore other zodiac signs, deeper psychological patterns, and the hidden paths to personal success. There's so much more waiting for you, so stay curious, stay brave, and whatever happens, keep believing in your light. I'll see you in the next video.